Brewery, Vanhonsebrouck, Kasteel Xtra.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is another one from Belgium. I have really been ignoring Belgian beers lately, which I really shouldn't do because I do like Belgian beers. And this is one from the Vanhonsebrouck Brewery, and they have done this range of beers called Kasteel, and this is the Kasteel Xtra. Now, I've done quite a few of the Kasteel range beers on the channel. I do recall that the Kasteel Triple was very nice indeed. I did that a couple of years ago. I don't think I've had it since, maybe once or twice, but it was really nice. I did enjoy that. And by contrast, the Kasteel Rouge was absolutely fucking horrendous. It was basically full of artificial sweeteners. It was not nice at all, and it's everything bad about Belgian beer in a beer. So I would say that this brewery are hit and miss. However, they do, and you may have tried it as well, it's available in Morrison's and I think Sainsbury's as well. They do a framboise in Sainsbury's, or used to, and they do a creek beer under the name of Bacchus, and Bacchus is like another beer range. They do other beer ranges as well. Of course, they do the Kasteel and they do the Bacchus, but they also do one called Brigand as well, which I have a glass up there somewhere. I don't know where. It's around there somewhere. And they also do one called Filou, and they also do a range of beers called St. Louis as well. Now, the one that you're probably going to hear most of is the Kasteel, as there are quite a few of the Belgian classic beers in that range, such as the blond, the triple, the quadruple, the double, etc. And the Rouge as well, which is supposedly a fruit beer. They also do a brown as well, or a brune, which I don't recall I've ever tried, I don't think. Maybe one for the list, who knows.
And your name will go on the list.
However, this tonight is the Kasteel Xtra, and it's by their own admission, it is a lower alcohol beer. Now, it's 4.5%. They class that as low alcohol. The fucking Belgians, they're mental. Yeah, their average is like 7%, and this is like a I wouldn't say a watered down, but a lower alcohol version of it, of their blonde. And I really don't know what to expect. I've been reading up about it, and it says it's quite bitter. It contains a lot of bittering hops. Now, I did I did a review on the Zundert Trappist beer last night, and I didn't really like it. It was just way too bitter. They'd gone overboard on the hops and didn't have much of the clove or the spiciness, the real complex flavours that you get, and none of the candy sugar that you normally expect with a decent triple. Anyway, that was supposedly on the ingredients list, but it wasn't in there, and it wasn't great. But hopefully this will be a little bit better. Now, as I say, the Vanhonsebrouck Brewery have been going quite a long time. They can trace their roots back to 1811, but the real history of the brewery starts in 1900, and they've been going from strength to strength since then. In fact, in 2016, they moved brewery. They used to be situated in a place called Ingolmunster, which is in West Flanders, and now they're in a place called Emmelgem, I think it's how it's pronounced. There's fucking Belgians pissing themselves laughing at me. I do not fucking care. It's your own fault for speaking that fucking gobbledygook language. It is a hard language to understand, especially West Flanders Flemish. I've spoke to people that actually come from Belgium. I was speaking to a fellow that come from Antwerp, and he said when he goes to West Flanders, he just cannot understand. And he was multilingual. He spoke English, he spoke French, and he spoke Flemish, and actually German as well. And he said West Flanders, he said it's like another language all of its own. If you're not too sure where West Flanders is, it's on the border with France, but it's a Flemish-speaking part of Belgium, and their accent is very, very strong. If you're talking sort of English terms, then I would imagine it would be like someone from the deep black country or somebody from Newcastle with a really heavy accent, then I'd imagine that would kind of be what it's like. Anyway, I am rambling. Let's get on and check out the beer. Right, 330ml bottle. There is no brew sheet, unfortunately, but it is 4.5%. It is a blonde, according to them, and that is about it. Brewed within the Kingdom of Belgium. That is now a thing that they put on their bottles of beer. I suppose when you get shit like Lef, I'm looking up there because I've got a Lef glass, but I'm supposed when you get shit like Lef and all that, which is brewed fuck knows where, that is disgusting stuff. The ingredients on here, have they got them in English? No, they haven't. Fucking cheek. They ain't got them in fucking English. Why, I ought to go down there. I'm trying to... Oh no, I lie. I take it all back, Belgium. Ingredients: water, barley malt, sugar, hops and yeast. Now this is a bottle conditioned beer. Now at 4.5%, you might ask, what is the point of that? Well, that's what they've done. There's a secondary fermentation going on in the bottle. That's where you get the real flavours that come from good Belgian beer. So without further ado, let's get it open. Let's see what's going on. Now normally, as I've said this before in a couple of reviews, especially with Belgian beer, I normally just pour a little bit into the glass, get a bit of an aroma, then pour the rest a bit later. But with this, you have to get the whole lot in one go, because the yeast really is an important part of Belgian beer. It really does give it its distinct flavour, the lovely esters that come off Belgian yeast in nearly all the styles, certainly in Wit beer, certainly in the triples, the doubles, and in the blondes as well. Don't get me started on the categorisation of Belgian beer when it comes to blondes, doubles and triples and quadruples. It's an absolute minefield. That looks relatively clear for a bottle conditioned beer. I can't really see any floaters. It's floating. But it looks like a blonde on the nose. Very, very faint aromas of clove on there. There is a malty note to it, and not much else. Oh, maybe some hop bitterness or hop spice that's coming through there. But the flavours are quite subdued, unfortunately. Okay. Now this is a lower alcohol beer. There should not be any trace of ethanol on there. There is the cap. If you are interested, it's a light blue cap, the universal colour for low alcohol beer. Anyway, let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Well, that is different. That is not what I was expecting. That's more like a Pilsner. That is, it's quite like a Pilsner. There's quite a bit of hot bitterness in there. Quite full-bodied as well. It's just to drink this cold, which I'm doing. Oh, hang on a minute. There's some distinct orange in there now. I am getting that. Rather than lemon, which you would expect, I'm getting orange. I wonder if that's coming from the hops. They've used some kind of American style hop, or whether there is actually some orange zest in that. Now orange zest is not an unusual flavour to find in Belgian beer, because they use that in Wit beer. They use it in, well, Wit beer is the main thing that they use it in, but I have seen it in some other specialty type beers that the Belgians do. But I'm definitely getting some some hints of orange in this. But it's quite nice. Quite liking it. It's not outstanding, I will say that, but it's quite drinkable. There's a nice hop bitterness on there. I thought it was going to be very, very big, but the ethanol is low on that, and the ethanol does give it some bitterness. This at 4.5% has no trace of that whatsoever, and what you're left with is a fair amount of hop character on there, and that seam of, instead of lemon, which you normally get in lagers and some pilsners, not many, but some pilsners do have that lemon grassy seam running through it. This has got orange, and it's subtle, but it's there, and I'm quite liking this. This isn't too bad at all. Nice full body on it as well. Finish is quite dry, and it's sort of hop bitterness and a hint of orange. That's what you're getting. No real malt character on that either. Not bad, I have to say. I'm not impressed, but I'm surprised. It's not what I thought it was going to be. That is nice. That is really nice, and it's a little bit different. If you're in Belgium and you're fed up with your Jupilers and your Stella Artois and any other type of, I wouldn't say macro. Well, it is macro brewed beer. What am I saying? It is. If you're fed up with that, this is a very nice alternative. It's the thinking man's macro brewed beer, which is unusual because it's got some nice aromas on it. Oh, and there is a little hint of clove on that. That is coming through now. It's very, very subtle, and it doesn't really translate to the flavour either. But it's nice, very drinkable, lovely cold. I mean, imagine that in the summer would be very nice and refreshing. Not as clean as, say, a German Pilsner or certainly a Bavarian Helles. Certainly not as sweet as a Bavarian Helles, but this is top fermented, so you shouldn't really be comparing it to that. But I'll tell you something, if we're just talking about top fermented beer, this is a hell of a lot better than some of the golden ales I've tried from this country. Nice. I wouldn't, if in a blindfold test, now I know what it is, and you know, I've researched it, I know that this is top fermented and it's bottle conditioned as well. In a blindfold test, I would never have guessed that. This is a little bit deceptive, and it says, I mean, I'm not just making this up, it does say on the side, or it did say on the side, where the fuck, I'm sure it said drink cold. Oops. Oh yeah, serve cold. It does say that on there, I'm not lying. There you go, serve cold. Now, that's a little bit unusual for a top fermented beer. Top fermented beers, you don't normally serve cold. The only ones I can think of, top fermented, maybe Weiss beer, wit beer, maybe. But I think if you serve wit beer really cold, it's going to lose a lot of the flavour and the character off of it. Them Belgian beers, I would say, they should be served just chilled, not cold, just a little bit chilled, bordering on, you know, cold cellar temperature, that type of thing. But Kolsch as well, I think that's one that needs to be served cold too. That's a top fermenter. But yeah, I mean, I'm sort of going on the English styles. You don't really serve English beers better unless you're serving up shit like speckled hen and that kind of crappy nonsense. But I digress. That's really nice. I have to say, I'm impressed with that. I wasn't impressed, I was surprised, but now I'm impressed. That's good. That's a good one from the Vanhonsebrouck Brewery, and they're a little bit hit and miss, but I have to say, they've done well with that one. So what's the verdict on Kasteel Xtra? Well, they call it extra because there's supposedly extra flavour in there. And for what it is, and for them serving it cold, it ain't bad, I have to say. I would recommend serving that cold because it is really nice. It's really refreshing. It's a little bit nippy out there, but you know me, the weather doesn't really make any odds to me for what I drink. But I have to say, it isn't bad at all. Now, Kasteel, as I mentioned in the previous section, are a little bit of a hit and miss brewery. I've had some bad ones from them, I'm not going to lie to you. But I've also had some quite good ones as well. The triple they do is nice. This one, I'm going to remember this one because that is nice. It's not your average blonde, put it that way. It's perhaps a good introduction to Belgian beer because the clove flavour is a little bit subtle on that. It doesn't really come through, to be honest. You get a little bit on the aroma, but it's not not big. There is some orange zest on there as well, which is nice. It's subtle, but it goes through the whole of the beer, and it makes a change from lemon. But of course, you have to remember this is a top fermented beer, as I said in the previous section. So the bottom fermented clean and freshness of a bottom fermented beer is not there. But what it does lack in that, it does make up for in body. It's definitely full bodied, and to be fair, it is reasonably refreshing. So I can't really find fault with it, to be honest. It's not that bad. How much was it? I will tell you right now. Kasteel, and that was $2.25. Now, $2.25 for 330ml. If you see this in the supermarket, you're going to get more for your money for $2.25. However, if you're in Belgium and there's a place selling this and you're out with mates and they're all fucking necking 10% and 7% beers like they're pints, and you don't want to have the hangover from hell, and when I say the hangover from hell, I mean the fucking worst hangover you will ever have, then maybe try some of this. If you're not really into your Stellas and your Jupilers and all that kind of thing, maybe try this if it's a warm day. You know, certainly in West Flanders it does get warm. I know, I've been over there. I actually really like going to Bruges. I think I might take the missus over there this year. Maybe drive over there. I know there's all fucking sorts going on at the ports now at the moment over in Belgium, and over in France because of Brexit and all that. But I may go over there one day. She's never been to Bruges, and I've been a few times. I went over there when I've done that tour on the motorbike, and had a little tour around on the bike around Bruges. I don't think the locals was impressed with a few. Was it 18 of us? I think it was 18 of us, and Harleys and fucking trikes and everything. The noise was deafening. But there you go. I'm digressing again. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10 because I really like it. It's very drinkable. It's got the drinkability of a lager. Subtle Belgian flavours. Very good introduction to the style. If you're fed up with Stella and Jupiler, as I say, you're out in Belgium and this is available, try some of this. You're going to like this. It's 330ml. I don't know how much it's going to be in Belgium. I imagine it's cheaper than $2.25, but it's a really nice beer, and you can session it as well. It's 4.5%. So, as I say, if everyone's necking the strong stuff and you don't want to get too out your nut, try some of that. It's really good. And remember, beer is working class champagne.